Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Alan writes, Aaron, in a video you told a girl that she was a little warped and that you were very warped. You said that had to do with being raised as a Christian. I was raised as a Christian myself, at least during my early childhood. While I know without a question that I am very warped and cynical, I'm not sure that I see how that could be on Christianity. I mean, you see a few things. Mainly, I'd say I see the truth in a world that's determined to believe in lies. It can make people quite difficult to deal with because everyone seems painfully ignorant, if not just plain stupid. That's my personal experience anyway. Anyway, I'm willing to throw you a few bones if you give me 15 minutes of why Christianity warps a person. Very good question, Alan. Thank you for it. It is not Christianity. However, it often is conflicted with religion in general. And so I'll explain here. If you were raised regular old Christian, that is not going to warp you. If you were raised regular old Jew, maybe not regular old Islam, but let's just say Reformed Islam, this is not going to happen you. The warping occurs when your parents or a parent puts an ideology, which could be Christianity or anything, above their children. Right? Now, this is commonly why you'll see preachers' kids go off the rails. Because the preacher, and this is written in the book, you gotta love God more than anything else, which is true. But what a lot of times happens, and you'll see this in all religions, and not even necessarily religions, but it could be an adherence to a culture, it could be an adherence to a cult, it could be an adherence to a career, where people say, I'm working this career to help my family. And what you find out a lot of times is that parent or parents do not work that career, believe in this ideology, believe in this religion for the benefit of the family. They do it for their ego. Now, it's hard to tell, and it is also a hard juggling and balance for people of the cloth to be someone who has a religion that tells you you have to kiss Mohammed's ass above all other things. But a lot of times what is attractive about religions or certain ideologies is that it allows you to lord and be supreme and be right and have some power and control without working hard at it and earning it. Well, I am a Christian. I am an imam. I am a I'm not that they're better, but they are. I know because I have the book that tells all of you what to do and da 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 da. And so an egoism starts to form where if you're egotistical and you're using a religion to basically put yourself above other people, including your own children, that's very selfish. And that selfishness, no matter which way it conduited into your life, comes at the expense of your children. Now, again, that's the malicious aspect. On the other side, there's the non-malicious aspect, where if you are serious about the religion and you are a good rabbi, you are a good preacher, you are a good imam, you could get dragged into lives and problems and the morass and the chaos that is not your own, unknowingly leaving your kids behind. Also, and this is the third reason, again associated with religion, they expect their kids to perform here, and they don't let their kids be kids. There's no margin of error for mistakes. I'm not even talking like sin. I'm talking like, the kid spilled his milk, you better perform here. You got to be that, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then inevitably, kids crack because they're kids. Or they become hardened. Or they just become, forged steel motherfuckers, no offense, like me. Not a lot phases the old Capmeister. A lot of it goes back to where you're sitting there and you want to play with a frog and you're yelled at for being sinful by these scumbag teachers in a Nazi concentration camp, also called parochial school. So it is not necessarily people who are raised with a religion. It is Was there a person of the cloth, and it could even be female nowadays, that put the religion, put unattainable standards on their children, and therefore warped them? And it's not coincidence. It is not coincidence. When you hear preachers' kids, you might want to duck for fucking cover. Or have sex with us because we're really fucking great. Yeah, they're warped. We are warped. And that's one thing you gotta gauge is like, okay, this is the rest of humanity. You know, how do you fit into this? And it's hard to self-assess when you're in the thick and the morass of it. Now, this does not solely relegate itself to religion. Another perfect example where I see this happening is the worship of Asian culture at the expense of your children. And this, we've talked about this before many times on this channel. We have many clients coming in from pretty much all walks of Asian life. We're talking Asia Minor, we're talking the Indian subcontinent, we're talking Far East, we're talking Southeast Asia. But the only piece of Asia this doesn't apply to is Russia. I would also say the Latino Hispanic community, where a little bit less, but still where the children are not looked at as my own flesh and blood, my progeny, both. My daughter, my son, I want you to go and be what's best. You're looked as an asset, a tool to bring pride to the family. I'll never forget my best buddy, Khan. He was telling me about Vietnamese weddings and how he was telling, and not necessarily, he's not necessarily from a rich family. And he was telling me about how this wedding cost some egregious amount. I don't want to say $1 million, but like it was into the six figures. And they're blowing all this money. I'm like, wouldn't that money be better buying property or save? Like, oh no, you don't understand. This is it. This is where you parade your children. Like, look at how much better my children are than your children. And you're talking to your brothers and sisters who presumably you love, and you love their nieces. And no, you want. It's like a football game. Like, your gladiator would be better. Like, you're putting that kid up against your siblings' kids to prove who's king shit. And I'm like, and going bankrupt in the process? Like, yeah, pretty much. Or many times here when we have clients, here you got Rahib from wherever, Pakistan. And Rahib, oh wow, America, and brought up in America too. This is where it's very conflicted, where the parents come from the original country, and they still hold on to the crappy crap. That's why they want to escape the crappy country in the first place. Here we're in America, but hey, even though you're brought up American, we want you to hear these crappy things that made sure our country was crappy. And so Rahib just wants to go become a computer engineer, and he wants to ride a motorcycle, he wants to date girls, and have fun. And then, we got Rahibet from Islamabad, and we're going to set you up with her, and you're going to get married, and you're not going to become an engineer. Probably one of my most interesting clients was the Iranian. He came here to the United States. Now, parents are back in Iran. And he was here to become a doctor. He's going to become a doctor. Found out he did not like blood or could not cut people open. He says, okay, I can't do this. I think he switched to chemical engineering. Like, horror of horrors. You know, every dopey, pasty, native, white swipple parents would kill for their children to not major in dipshit studies or literature or whatever work avoidance studies they got out there and go into chemical engineering. And as far as I'm like, okay, that's logical. That makes sense. Well, then the parents freaking disowned him because he was going to become a doctor. Because, again, it's not their flesh and blood. It's not their son. It's their gladiator. It's their you go and prove my brother wrong about who's the best parent. It's one of the most disgusting, selfish, child abusive things that you can ever, without actually physically abusing your child, where your son or daughter are pawns to play in your ego masturbation game. And so that's what it really is where the child is, there's no, mom, son, dad, daughter. It's not a traditional, normal relationship. It's they got some other ulterior priorities going on. And then you are here, and not only are you there, you are here to orbit around and help supplement and support that ulterior motive. Again, we had the what was it? Was he Mexican? He's Latino of some kind. Don't tell me he's Spanish. Shut the fuck up. Were the folks he felt guilty about going into the Air Force. I'm like, why do you feel guilty about going into the Air Force? I don't get it. He says, well, my parents want me to stay here and make money, bring money in for the family. It's like, get the fuck, go to the, I mean, you see that now. Some of it is obviously capitalistic and opportunistic, financial off the kids. Some of it is egotism, where it's, look at my son, the doctor, even though he never wanted to be a doctor and all he wanted to do was be a dentist or something. Where the kid is to use as bragging rights to the rest of the family. Some of it is an irrational expectation of performance on little kids, or they're obsessed and they value not God or Allah more, but their position. Like, oh, I am an imam, I am a pastor, I am a preacher, and well, I can't say priest because priests don't have kids as far as we know. You're a second fiddle. You're just not. And you know what? Kids without parents around, hey, don't know if you knew this, they don't grow up to be June and Ward Cleaver. They end up, they're guaranteed to have problems. And so what I say with warp, and this is, we could apply this as a general rule of thumb if you want something that's a bit more actual, like you can assess, is if you come from a broken family, it's not a nuclear family, you are warped to some extent. And you don't know it now, especially when you're younger, as to just how screwed up you are. And what's worse is if you want the vicious cycle to end, you got to pull yourself out. Usually 9 out of 10 times. I take a look at someone like Stefan Molyneux, obviously came from a warped family, but I think he's done enough self-study, therapy, whatever, that he probably is making a great father. And you guys all listen to him, you know that. I would say that's one of the rarer instances. The guy's also got an IQ off the charts. You really got to look at how you've affected people around you. Because here's the other thing. Believe it or not, some people are going to like you. Some people are even going to fall in love with you. And a lot of it is that you'll be so obsessed with just getting back to normal or surviving, making money, putting food on the table. There's no stable, you didn't come from a stable environment. It's like all you. Now you gotta survive. So you're always stuck in the lower 2, maybe 3 layers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And even while you're doing that, somebody's gonna come in and like, guy, girl, doesn't matter, you know, if you're a guy, girl, if you're a girl, guy. And you'll be like, yeah, hey, how you doing? I remember one time, it's sad, but you laugh at it. Again, it's your warp. There was a girl who really liked me. And I was in college, and we were dating. And she started crying one time because I only saw her once a week. Now, keep in mind, we went to the same college. We were only not even half a mile from each other. And I was so busy trying to do school and work. And I saw her once a week, and that wasn't enough for her. And I'm like, what is wrong with this girl? Why does she want kids? What? And she had parents paying her way. She wasn't spoiled by any means. She still worked, but I mean, maybe she was going into debt. And I'm like, what do you mean? What? I gotta. And if it's not irrational. It's like food, or we go play kissy poo on the couch. Well, I kind of need food, you know. Kissy poo does not feed my stomach. That's. But again, you're warped. Now, I unknowingly tortured that poor girl. People get feelings. Can you believe that shit? She wanted to spend time with me, and I was just completely clueless to it. Because again, like, you know, she wants to have a cocktail on the upper decks of the Titanic. I'm trying to patch up where the iceberg came through. What? Shut up! I got pissed a couple times. What? Anyway, my point was, getting back to this rule of thumb, I didn't know how much damage I was causing. And that's not the only one. There's other people, friendships, because I'm just short on time, short on pace, short wick. You don't know how much damage you're going to, or how screwed, because you don't know how screwed up you are. You don't. And so not until you're a little bit older and you get stable, and that's one of the worst things. As you get older, let's say you get successful. Some of them just end up doing drugs, crime. I mean, they'll never get out of that world. But then when you get out and you start getting into the upper echelons of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and things calm down finally, you have food, security, everything's stable. And then you're like, whoa, what happened? And then you start visiting normal people. Then you start entering the normie world. And you start looking at your behavior in the past, and you're like, oh shit. Like, holy shit, that was fucked up. In retrospect at the time. And so, definitely, it's not that it's just Christian. If you went to mass when you're a kid, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you come up from a broken home, or an extreme home where, a lot of times the father is the patriarch. I mean, and we're talking extreme Sieg Heil über alles, Arbeit macht frei type level. And the wife is just a supplicant. I don't know if you ever saw American Beauty, but the wife with the Marine, kind of like that. They're still married, but there's no love. There's no hate. It's just Jesus. That's still just as bad as coming from a broken home. Sometimes even worse. But that is going to warp you. That's going to warp you relative to the rest of normal society. And again, I'm no big fan of normies, but if you got to interact with the rest of society, it's going to warp you. The client that I had, she was a young gal, I remember. I think her folks still are married, but it was a very strict Christian home. They had 7 children. They were all homeschooled. And she's like, ooh, okay, yeah. And then you're dumped into the real world. It's like you are warped compared to them. So, yeah, it's not Christianity. It's not any individual religion. It's the general instance where the parent or the parent, you're playing second fiddle to something else in their lives. And where religion gets a benefit is that it's this moral cult. Oh yeah, there's this guy upstairs who's going to strike lightning up your ass if you don't eat your peas. 3-year-old kid, okay. You don't clean under your bed, you're going to go to hell. Oh, okay, I'll clean my bed. Whatever. What? Burning? What's that? Stick your hand on this oven, you'll find out. I can't even reach the oven. All right, that's it. I'm glad. That was a very happy topic. Anyway, you guys got questions, old Capmeister's got answers over at assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you all later. Toodles.